Good afternoon. Yvonne Stewart here with you in our study of Luke's Gospel. Now we're looking through the Gospel of Luke passage by passage and digging out the treasures and seeking God's face for what he has for us to find out in his word. So today we're looking at Luke chapter 6, and I want to encourage you real quick, hit pause, read all of chapter 6, give yourself a good overview of what we're studying, and then hit play again and join me as we study in Luke's Gospel, chapter 6, verses 37 to 49. Doing to others as we want them to do to us, rather than what they did to us, takes spiritual strength. It doesn't take strength when they did something nice to you. Of course, it's easy to be nice in return in that case. But Jesus wants you to both treat others well first and treat others well in response to them treating you wrongly. The motivation we have for pulling this supernatural principle into the practice of our daily life is because of how it moves God to respond to us. See, God set up a law of sowing and reaping. Some people say what goes around comes around. Some people call it karma. It's a spiritual law that works on the earth just as surely as the law of gravity. You don't have to think about it for it to work. It's always on and it always works. What makes this law work is the justice of God, which it tells us in Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. And the justice of God is always righteous. How we treat people, loving them, giving and being generous, going the extra mile, doing the unexpected, forgiving, not judging, not condemning. These things form the basis for what we receive in life from God, especially the things we want to receive. And God has his ways of working things out and moving on the hearts of people for our blessing and our benefit. Verse 38 is often most thought of in terms of giving financially, and of course it applies that way. However, in the context of the previous and subsequent verses, what Jesus really wants us to focus on is giving mercy and grace to people, specifically those people who have been the source of ill treatment to us. Giving mercy to someone means not retaliating when they have done wrong to you. They may deserve it, but we let it go. Giving mercy to people is so powerful because we always want to be on the receiving end of mercy. Somehow we never think our own wrong actions deserve that consequences, or at least we hope we won't get what we deserve. Giving grace to someone means giving them something good when they don't deserve it. So on top of not retaliating, you are also going to bless them. I know you think Jesus has gone entirely too far now, but mercy and grace, though not named in this passage, is exactly what Jesus is talking about. It's exactly what Jesus gives us in salvation. We deserved punishment. We did not deserve the free gift of forgiveness and salvation. Yet, Jesus offered both without us even asking. We certainly want these things from God, don't we? Give it to others and it will be given back to you by others and by God. The point of Jesus' instructions about treating others as we want to be treated, blessing instead of cursing and not judging, is because we each have our own problems. It's so easy to not see or to ignore our own shortcomings, our own ideas of life that need work. And it's so easy to see the shortcomings and the annoyances of those around us. Rather than focusing on what is wrong about somebody else, Jesus wants us to look inward. Mind your own business and take care of those areas in your own life that need adjusting. Help other people out after you have attended to yourself. As Jesus said in verse 42, first, get rid of the log in your own eye, then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. Coming from the heart of Jesus' sermon about treating others the way we want to be treated, and all the examples of what that really looks like in practice, Jesus points out where these actions come from, good or bad, in verses 43 and 44. Goodness or wickedness and their corresponding behaviors come from the heart. Further, the things we say come from what is within our heart. Jesus likens our heart to a treasury. A treasury is a place where good and valuable things are stored. The treasury of our heart reveals to all what we consider as good and valuable. If you put evil and wicked thoughts and ideas into your heart, it will come out as evil and wicked words and behaviors. If you put good and righteous living things in your heart, it will come out as godly words and Christ-like behavior. We cannot hide what is in our heart, at least not for long. What is in there will come out for all the world to see and to declare what kind of a person we really are. Jesus closes out his sermon in verse 46 by demonstrating his insight into human habits. All too often, we try to make people think that we are someone we're not. We try to hide what is in our heart by saying what we think someone wants to hear. We may even say things that we want to be true, but that aren't true. Countless people since the time of Christ have called him Lord. They call on his name and pray to him and expect him to answer their prayers. They call themselves Christians and perhaps even attend church to validate that ruse. But Jesus pulls the rug out from under such deception. He preached that you can say whatever you want, but what's really in your heart is going to come out in your actions. In this case, Jesus' lordship in your life can only be proved if you are obeying his commands and living his teachings. Jesus is not your Lord if you are still living life on your own terms, and calling him Lord cannot change that fact. True children of God build their lives on a solid foundation of obedience. It's not enough just to read or hear Jesus' words. We must embrace them as our own, do them, and live them. Well, that is all for today. I hope you received some revelation from God about how to better treat people in your own life. If you have any questions about today's message, go ahead and write it in the chat of this video and I'll be happy to answer. Also, make sure you look at the scriptures that I've put in there so that you can go back and study those and really see what it means for yourself. I'm going to be right back here on Wednesday at 12 Central Time. Don't forget that. Make sure you join me. I don't want you to miss this amazing study of Luke's Gospel. Have a blessed week.